Right, everyone, welcome back to Pommy in Alls. Hope we're all doing really well today. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Really helps the channel out. We're smashing them out. And if you want to become a member, you can do that. Link is in the description. We've got a few shows coming up this week. We've got the ever-popular selection panel tonight at 7 p.m. So come and see that. That should be interesting. Everyone will be up and about for that. We've got the EPL show returning with the great man Faz this week. So stay tuned for updates of that. We've got some competitions as well. Very interactive if you like the round ball, and that will take you through in the off-season. We've got a load of draft profiles coming up as well, some special guests. We've got it all. So make sure you're in that. We're going to have some members-only bits of content as well for the draft. So if you want to become a member, link is in the description. Let's get in to Carlton versus St Kilda. So the Blues, we're flying at the minute, aren't we? Let's be honest. We are flying at the minute. We are a team in a good sense of form. We've knocked off the top two sides in the comp in the last 5 weeks. There definitely will be a feeling, and there's a vibe about this game that there is definitely a change in the Blues. They are looking more compact. They are looking more offensive on the attack. They are looking a lot like the real deal. And they come up against a side that is almost polar opposite to us this year to last. They are having a bit of a blip towards the end. Few injuries have curtailed St Kilda. They were flying. They've had 3 wins in the last 5, but their wins have been very narrow margins against very weak sides. North Melbourne, they just managed to get up by 8. Eagles, they got up by 9, And obviously, Hawks ran them very close before they got on top of them towards the end. And this is a game in the opposite for Carlton, where they have been flying. They've won all games by 50, but the top 2 sides in the league, which they have obviously just come off the back of beating Collingwood, which is great. 7th versus 5th, 11-8 for Saints, 10-1-8 for Carlton. The Blues are looking at this game here, and it pretty much, if they win this game, it's all on Carlton's terms. It still is now, but this would give them another lead over a top 8 side. And we go back to the last time these guys played, round 6. St Kilda won that game. Carlton were incredibly wasteful, if you remember, particularly that Clux moment in the second quarter where they missed a lot of shots at goal. And that was kind of that big tipping point at that start of the season. They were not being able to get any form of momentum against this side. And it was all that third quarter from the Saints. They absolutely ran over the top of the Blues. And the rest is history, as they say. Let's look at the St Kilda side, a side that shouldn't be taken lightly. Ross has come out with some firing talk today, and they will be fired up for this one because obviously we are now playing games in the next couple of weeks against sides that are in the finals and are trying to hold their place, particularly in St Kilda. We finish off with GWS. We've got Melbourne, who were trying to secure that top 4 spot. So they will be fired up. Interesting, the most kick-heavy side in the league. The number 1 ball retention side and the 3rd and 2nd tackles and mark side. Interesting enough, they are one of the top sides with the most unforced errors. And we've seen that absolutely fly in the last 6 to 8 weeks, which is really interesting for the Blues. But as you can see, a very top-heavy kick style that they do. It's one of the highest in the league in their kick percentiles. And they look to retain possession. They're a very measured side. The one thing that you know when you're playing a Ross side is they're going to be well drilled. They're going to be hard to break down, particularly around the contest and around them stoppage areas. It's going to be hard yakka. You've got to do it. Only Gold Coast, there's a few teams that have it, but Gold Coast, Brisbane, Port, a lot more kick percentage per disposal. But in that breakup of their mass disposals, it says, and that disposal efficiency there says that story. It tells you everything you need to know, right? They are a side that looks to retain territory. They're looking to retain the ball, that old classic. Everything Ross does is about percentages. It's about playing the percentages. They are the 3rd least meters gained per disposal in the comp, right? It's all about keeping that ball, because if you can't score without the ball. And because of that, they have quite a low inside 50 ratio, right? So that is something to take into account. They are the bottom half of that, and they are the only team outside of the 8 with such a low inside 50. It's about quality, not quantity with these boys. And that's shown in their rebound 50 rate, a very strong rebound 50 rate, as you would expect for a Ross side. It is the 5th best in the league. Carlton's is the best. So we are playing a side there. Interesting, though, very similar makeup to Port Adelaide, right, in the way that they rebound the ball. They look to retain it, and it's quite slow and methodical waiting for that kick. They've got 2 exceptional wingers there, but one that we've got to talk about who slots across halfback and the wing is Nanci Milwera. Absolute terrific footballer, and a guy that is going from strength to strength. And that is something that Carlton are going to have to be wary of, because that combination with Sinclair and Wanganeen is very dangerous, and it's their give and goes. And this is something Carlton have had great practice of in the last 3 weeks. They did it successfully with Nick Dacos, took away his short options. You want Wanganeen kicking. You want Sinclair having to kick long. You want them taking meters gained. That is a big key asset for how you beat these sides. And it's how Hawks did incredibly well before they folded in the 4th, winning the ball around the centre and the stoppages, chaining them scores, and really hemming on them back. Now, we talked about the meters gained. It's one of the lowest, like we said, 3rd lowest in the comp. Very heavy ball retention side. It's very methodical. It's very, I don't want to say boring, because you've got to give credit to St Kilda. It's good football. It does what it says on the tin. And that's why Ross has such a priority on his role players. And it's why, with the injury list he's had, it doesn't really matter, because he can function quite well. It'll be interesting to see that they're bringing Membry and King back, how that works, because that ball has to come in quicker, and it's not coming in quick at the moment. In the last 4 weeks, they've been one of the slowest sides to get the ball from back half to the forward half, the most touches. And that really helps Carlton's defence out. Carlton are historically strong against these sides that have a hell of a lot of disposals. Carlton have looked very comfortable when they play teams that are a bit more slow and methodical, because of the way they play their zone, and then the way they peel off the zone, particularly in the last 6 to 7 weeks, makes a disaster if you move it slow. Your only chance against us is that real quick movement and getting through that first wave, which Carlton have really put a lot of emphasis on. Contested possession differential, plus 4.1. Very similar to what we had last week. Clearance differential is another matter, and this is very interesting. They have got some very strong, their ruck department is very strong. And that's something that Carlton will come into this game knowing that their strength has started to become a little bit of a weakness for St Kilda, which is interesting because they are one of the lower ranked sides with their hit-outs, particularly to advantage. So a lot's talked about what St Kilda's ruck's got. We know Rowan's an incredible beast. His strength is more around the ground and being that pain in the arse, particularly when he slides forward. And that's because they move up in clusters. If you watch St Kilda move their ball movement, their zones kind of move almost methodically. It's like watching an army march slowly, impending death. Where Carlton are looking at that manic pressure, and that's going to be really interesting because Carlton want to make them kick long. Carlton need to make them take the distance and take it on. Mark's inside 50 rate, as you would expect when you're missing a few of your toes, isn't exactly in the upper echelon. It's third last, just behind Eagles and North. And again, this is the slow, methodical play. Teams are starting to structure up very quickly behind the ball. And that is why when you saw them against Eagles, North and Hawks, they had that quite ease at defending it at times. And it's also when you look at the top half, how Mitch Lewis got a lot of his goals. The ball moved very quickly from Hawthorn, very manic start of play. They look to get the game moving quickly on their terms. Very interesting. As you'd expect, though, tackles, very high for Saints. They have got a very good core understanding of their basics, and that is something that Carlton have got to look at, right? Carlton have got to look at that they are going to make it hard, but Carlton's game style recently has been taking that contact and looking for that contact. A lot of players being double tackled, which creates freedom elsewhere. A lot of give and goes. And that is going to be a really interesting little battle there because it's two contrasting myriads of styles between them. And it's going to be a real exciting little effort for Carlton to see how Carlton go. Now, it's really interesting that only Hawthorn, Eagles and North have a worse chance creation. We're talking a team that presses the button when it matters. They play high percentage plays. And that is something that Carlton have got to really look at, because they're not going to pepper you inside 50. They're going to look for their opportunity. It's a very methodical game plan, like all of Ross's sides. So this is where Carlton are going to be looking, and they've got to try and encourage that. They're going to be setting a lot of traps. I expect to see a lot of McGovern peeling off and trying to get higher up the ground. We're talking almost like a pseudo halfback midfield role. That's where the ball is going to spend a lot of time. They like them little kicks outside 65, 70, trying to move the zones. Let's look at the Blues, though. We know the Blues are going strong. And again, this is something that is going down, with the exception of a few games. Last week was a lot more kick-heavy style because of the way that they played. I expect to see more of a lower kick percentage this game, just because of the makeup we've got. But Carlton, again, around the same kick marks as St Kilda. The disposal efficiency, that's fluctuating because they're starting to get more metres gained. That metres gained has shot up. We were nearly at 14.9 at one stage. Carlton are starting to get them energies, and the inside 50s in that AFL average rating now. Carlton are really starting to get above the norm and get to the better sides. They're generating more quality inside 50s. Their rebound 50 rate, still the highest in the league. Carlton, one of the hardest sides to score against in all metrics. It's why they're the number one defensive side in the comp. And the meters gained is a key part of that. Really interesting, these two numbers here. And this is what will strike St Kilda. Even with the ins people are talking about, Carlton should be confident going into this game, knowing that these bread and butter ones, which were almost even, one was negative 6 weeks ago. Let that sink in, right? Carlton are starting to contest this area. They're starting to go back to there, take the ball, handball on, get the runners, and get them overlap runs going. And the clearance differential, as you'd expect for Carlton, which doesn't incidentally change in the times we've lost Walsh and had to play with an auxiliary and Chera. It's still quite high because it's very systematically based. And this is a big change from this time last year, where last year it was still reliant on core personnel. And when we started to lose them, started to fall off. So many players are getting shifted. We're seeing Voss now in the last 6 weeks with more rotations in the midfield than he's ever done. And that isn't out of necessity. That is out of game style change. And that is a big change around the ground. We're seeing a lot of rotations and a lot of role shifts in the game. Foggett will play that defensive tag role. They'll then shift Cunningham there. They'll shift Martin there. Everyone seems to get a bite of the job's cherry, and a few players have their solo roles. And that's a really interesting fact because Ross likes organisation. Ross is methodical. Ross is your nana and her pantry. Labels facing outwards, alphabetical order for the sources. Carlton, they like going in there and rearranging it. And that ruins their equilibrium. And that is something Carlton have got to be. Take away them short options. Take away the easy options. Make them kick well. And that's something we've noticed about the Blues. They're starting to sacrifice the wing. They're starting to flood that corridor and encourage them kicks to contest. And they're deploying players like TDK. Pitternet did it this week. Wheatering starts to come really high, almost plays a pseudo winger in defense of transition, and try and force that kick there and say, do you want it? Do you want to take it? This is your exit. And it caused chaos with Collingwood, who were probably the best side in the league at doing that. So, real interesting avenue here that Carlton have got to stick to doing what they're doing. Because if they stick to doing what they're doing, they're more than capable. Tackles, very high. Carlton are starting to increase this. And their chance creation is going through the roof at the moment. Carlton are starting to also get more quality ones. The second best chance creation in the league, in between Port and Adelaide in the last couple of weeks. And that's because it's becoming deeper. And because it's becoming deeper, it's bringing the small forwards in the game. Because the small forwards are in the game, that's lowering the opposition's rebound 50 rate. And it's all a happy myriad to happy football for the Blues. So, real strong numbers there. I want you to really get that sink in. Forget about the Collingwood game. We've had the high now. We're going to work. And these core fundamentals to beat a side that prides itself on core fundamentals. Let's look at the makeup over the last 5 weeks. And the last 5 weeks is probably the best place to look for form at all times. And it's starting to paint a picture that Carlton are starting strong. 4.5 of their first quarters they've won. 5 out of 5 of their second quarters have won. And this is where St Kilda are struggling at the moment. Before, it was try and keep tit for tat in the first half. And their last quarter is where they were strong. This is where it started to be blown out. And the second and third are very weak areas. And this is where Carlton kind of contained the game in the last 5 weeks, particularly in the third. But the second is where they start to put the foot down and analyse and reassess at half-time. And this is a big, strong area. Carlton starts strong. That's a huge area. Huge area. And you can see Carlton have won double of the quarters to St Kilda, right? And you look at the opposition. So interesting enough, based on ladder position and strength of team, Carlton are ranked 10th. St Kilda have had the easiest route out the two. They're ranked 17th. So that's a very interesting fact there, that Carlton have had tougher opposition in this collection. So not saying St Kilda are rubbish, but I'm saying that at the moment, Carlton have got some reason to go into this game. Forget the bollocks of Carlton have only won a few games against St Kilda. They've got to go in this with their full strength, because this is now. No one cares about what happened yesterday. This is about now. And currently, everything is saying. And the first time since the Eagles, a clean sweep of rating points. Carlton are stronger, and that is factoring in the expected changes. Carlton, based on form, TPI is coming out with 28 points. And we talked about this last week, that Collingwood, it was a tough one to predict because obviously Carlton still had some shit games in there, in that collection. We're getting back to shit games. We're starting to see more of a reflection of current form. And based on this, one team is going down in ratings, one team is going up. Carlton should come out of this. I think that's a fair reflection. I think it's a 3-goal minimum game, to be honest. I think Carlton shouldn't fear this game. And I'm not saying they take them easy. I'm saying if they go in and execute what they can control, there is no reason that they shouldn't leave on Sunday Arvo with 4 points. It's about going in there, executing the basics, being professional, doing what you do well, big palm quarter, snagging and getting a goal. But that's a really important facet. Taking this game serious and going in, because these are now potential banana skins. There's 3 potential banana skins for me that Carlton will go in odds favourites. That's what they've got to focus, because if they get this win here, it's really in their favour. Something's got to go catastrophically wrong then. As opposed to last year, we were waiting for catastrophically wrong for opposition. Huge game, huge ramifications for both sides. And Blues have got that advantage. St Kilda know a loss is devastating. They've got to play on that by coming out there, as they have done the last 5 rounds, and putting them pressure on early doors. It's going to be a very interesting game. I can't wait for it. I'll be there. Look after yourself. Much love. Best of luck both sides. Pom out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.